Have you ever really stopped to think about how we actually learn to do our jobs? I'm not talking about a classroom or some corporate training course. I mean the real, nitty-gritty, on-the-ground learning. Well, it turns out the rise of intelligent machines, we're talking AI, robotics, the whole shebang, is creating this kind of hidden crisis in that exact process. And today, we're going to pull back that curtain. Let's get into it. So here's the plan. We'll kick things off with a really personal story from inside an operating room. From there, we'll zoom out and look at the huge systemic problem this reveals. Then we'll break down the 4 big obstacles technology is creating. But then, we'll get to the really fascinating part, the ingenious, sometimes risky ways people are fighting back. And finally, we'll explore how we can flip the script and make these machines our greatest mentors. Okay, so to really get what's at stake here, I want you to meet Kristen. She's a senior surgical resident, and for her, learning by doing isn't just a phrase, it's everything. It's her entire future career. But as you're about to see, the type of surgery she's in, well, that changes the whole game. And the difference is, it's just night and day. On one hand, you have a traditional open surgery. This is where Kristen is literally hands-on, leading the procedure. Her attending physician is right there, shoulder to shoulder, guiding her. It's the classic apprenticeship model we've used for centuries. But then you've got robotic surgery, and suddenly the whole dynamic is flipped on its head. The expert surgeon is sitting at a console, maybe 15 feet away, controlling the robot, and Kristen, well, she's mostly just watching. Let that sink in. A 4-hour surgery, and she might get 15 minutes of actual practice. 15. Now, the robot lets the expert do the whole procedure faster, with fewer mistakes. Great for the hospital, right? But for Kristen, those crucial learning moments are just evaporating. And the pressure? It's intense. If she makes one tiny slip, the expert can take over with just a tap on a screen, and suddenly she's publicly benched, right there in front of the whole team. Kristen's story, it's not just about surgery. It's a huge flashing warning light for a much bigger problem. It's about the slow erosion of something called on-the-job learning, or OJL. And honestly, this is the main unseen engine that creates experts in pretty much every field. We all know OJL, even if we don't call it that. It's that timeless process of watching a pro, then trying out the easier parts yourself, and slowly, with supervision, tackling the harder stuff. Surgeons have a great phrase for it. See one, do one, teach one. For the rest of us, it's apprenticeship, it's mentorship. It's how we really learn how to do our jobs. And this number shows just how big the disconnect is. Companies spend, literally, hundreds of billions of dollars on formal training workshops and online courses. And yet, the most important learning engine of them all, OJL, is almost never funded or even formally managed. It's just assumed it'll happen on its own. So here's the bottom line. Decades of research all point to the same thing. We learn the vast majority of our job skills by doing the job. And that 2011 survey, wow, only 1 in 5 workers said they'd learned skills through formal training. So you can see organizations are incredibly, dangerously dependent on this informal OJL. And when new technology starts messing with it, it's a huge, often invisible risk. So why is this happening? What is it about these new intelligent machines that gets in the way? Well, when you look at the research from all these different fields, medicine, finance, even policing, you start to see a pattern. It boils down to 4 major obstacles on the path to becoming an expert. Okay, first up, trainees are being pushed away from what's called the learning edge. Now, the learning edge is that critical zone where you have to struggle with complex problems and actually learn from your mistakes. But to boost efficiency and cut down on errors, trainees like Kristen are sidelined. You see the same thing happening on Wall Street, where junior analysts used to learn by analyzing deals. Now, they're often just pulling data to feed into an algorithm. Second, and this is a big one, the experts themselves are becoming more distanced from the actual work. A surgeon at a robotic console can't feel the tension of tissue in their hands. They can't see if the robot's arm is bumping up against the patient. Or think of a tech startup where customer support is outsourced to an automated system. The managers lose that direct, raw feedback from their users. The machine, in a way, becomes a barrier. The third roadblock is something the researchers call methodological overload. This is where you're expected to become a master of the old way and the new way at the same time. Surgical residents have to master traditional open surgery and robotic surgery. Professors have to be amazing in-person lecturers and experts at building online courses. And the result? People are spread so thin they don't have enough time to truly master either one. And finally, the 4th obstacle is that organizations just kind of assume the old ways of learning will work for these new tools. It's a huge blind spot. Take the LAPD, for example. They rolled out a new predictive policing AI, but they just stuck with their old on-the-beat training model. This left officers totally confused about what the AI's recommendations even meant, which, as you can imagine, led to a lot of resistance and mistrust. So, this brings us to the real million-dollar question, doesn't it? When the official, legitimate ways of learning are blocked by new tech, by old thinking, what do people do? How on earth do they get the skills they so desperately need to actually do their jobs and build a career? The answer is they go underground. They start to engage in this widespread, informal process that this research has identified as shadow learning. And it is this ingenious and, often rule-breaking response to a system that's failing them. Shadow learning is exactly what it sounds like. It's all the workarounds, the secret practice sessions, the informal favors people do out of the limelight to get the hands-on experience they're being denied. It's their way of fighting back to build real expertise. And look, this isn't some brand new thing. The famous sociologist Robert Merton figured this out almost 100 years ago. He basically said that when the system makes it impossible for you to achieve a goal that everyone values, like becoming a great surgeon, people will find another way. Deviance isn't random. It becomes a logical, predictable result. But here's the really cool part. These so-called deviant behaviors, they're not just people breaking rules for the sake of it. No, they are a goldmine of insights. They offer incredibly powerful lessons for how our organizations should be adapting to this new world of work. The research found 4 main tactics people use. First, they actively seek struggle. Think of residents who find less experienced surgeons to work with because they know those surgeons will let them operate more. Second, they tap frontline know-how, like residents who ask veteran scrub techs for practical advice instead of the busy, intimidating attending surgeon. Third, they actually redesign their own roles to focus on the skills they need to build. And fourth, they curate their own solutions, creating and sharing cheat sheets and videos that the official training fails to provide. So what can organizations learn from this? Well, the big takeaway is don't punish the shadow learners. Learn from them. It means we need to intentionally design ways for people to struggle safely on real work. It means creating official channels for your frontline veterans to teach the newcomers. It means redesigning jobs and incentives so people are rewarded for learning new tech. And it means building searchable libraries of know-how that everyone can contribute to. And this all leads us to a really powerful new idea. What if the very technology that's causing this problem could actually be redesigned to become the solution? What if we could turn our intelligent machines into our best mentors? I mean, think about it. Instead of an AI that sidelines learners, we can build an AI that coaches them. Imagine an augmented reality system that overlays an expert's hand movements right onto an apprentice's view. We could even use tools, sometimes called learner sourcing, where trainees themselves can highlight the most confusing parts of a training video, creating a feedback loop for constant improvement. The possibilities are huge. You see, in the end, it really all boils down to a choice. Right now, a lot of organizations are so focused on short-term productivity that they're accidentally letting technology destroy their most valuable asset, the skills and expertise of their own people. But what shadow learning proves is that people have a deep, powerful drive to learn. So the real challenge is to design our systems, both our tech and our organizations, to do both, be efficient and develop our people. And that leaves us with this final, critical thought. We hear the narrative all the time, right? The robots are coming to replace us. But maybe, just maybe, that's the wrong question entirely. The real question we should all be asking ourselves in our jobs and for our companies is this. Are we going to let our intelligent machines push us to the sidelines, or are we going to have the wisdom and the foresight to design them to teach us?